This ancient settlement in the Uttarakhand Himalayas features wooden-roofed houses built directly into the steep, misty hillside, completely cut off from the modernized world. Decades ago, Asha Rawat lived here with his wife, maintaining a quiet lifestyle defined by the same traditions their ancestors followed for centuries. However, their family was defined by a rare biological occurrence. They were the parents of 9 daughters, all of whom were perfectly identical. By the age of 12, these 9 sisters were known for a shared, striking beauty and a sense of serenity that the locals found remarkable. They were always seen in matching off-white woven dresses and red shawls, moving through the village in such perfect unison that they seemed to share a single mind. For 12 years, their lives followed the predictable rhythm of the mountains, but that ordinary peace was about to be broken by a series of events that the village could not explain. The change began on a typical morning when a sudden, heavy darkness eclipsed the sun, turning the early hours into a premature midnight. Almost immediately, a dense, midnight blue fog rolled down from the peaks. It engulfed the stone courtyards and garden walls, leaving the villagers unable to see the paths right in front of them. The silence that followed was total. The usual sounds of the wind and mountain wildlife simply stopped, leaving the village in a heavy, airless vacuum. This wasn't a standard mountain storm. The atmosphere was thick with a sense of expectation, as if the entire geography of the valley was being held in place for something yet to happen. Then, a single point of light appeared at the very summit of Khait Parvat, a brilliant golden orb cutting through the blue fog and casting a direct beam toward the village. The eldest sister was the first to react. In a trance-like state, she called to her sisters, telling them they had to go to the mountain to meet the light. The sisters didn't hesitate or show fear. They moved together, their usual human expressions replaced by a synchronized, focused gaze toward the summit. In a single-file line, the 9 girls walked out of their courtyard and began the steep climb up the mountain trail, moving directly toward the source of the glow. They were no longer acting on their own. Each step toward the summit seemed driven by the magnetic pull of the light hovering above them. At 10,000 feet, the summit of Khait Parvat is a place of jagged rocks and freezing winds. It is a location where the physical limits of the human body are tested. As the girls reached the edge of the cliffs, the golden orb descended from the sky, hovering just a few feet away from the group. As they stared into the light, their physical forms began to change. Their bodies grew translucent, and shimmering particles of gold began to rise from their clothes and skin. In a sudden, silent flash, the sisters disappeared. In their place, 9 bright stars shot upward from the peak and scattered across the horizon. Within the context of the local legend, the sisters didn't die. They transitioned from their physical lives into the celestial figures that the village had been waiting for. The story says those 9 stars settled onto 9 different peaks, marking the moment the sisters became the Parian, the legendary fairies of these mountains. Many people in Uttarakhand still believe these 9 figures remain on those peaks today, acting as guardians who protect the local villages from misfortune. This belief is anchored by this physical monument, the Khait Parvat. It stands alone at the summit, built on the very spot where the sisters are said to have vanished. For the people of Khait Parvat, this isn't just a story from the past. It is the reason they still look to these 9 peaks as a source of protection and a link to the history of their land.